Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this lovely event. My name's Kate Figg and I'm the Group Marketing Manager for All IoT Technologies. This afternoon I'm going to be taking a look at how we can make IoT more accessible to SMBs using our own project that we've been working on in our offices. So for those of you that have attended the IoT London meetups earlier this year, I'm sure you'll probably know who we are. But for those who don't, I'll just give you a little bit of an overview as to who All IoT are and what it is that we actually do. So we are the UK and Europe's leading specialist IoT distributor. We were established in 2018 and we hold strong working relationships with many of the world's leading manufacturers. As you can see here, we're working with around 50 different partners at the moment, and we've got a portfolio of around 1,000 sensors. We're the go-to experts, working with clients around the world to produce proof of concept kits all the way through to commercial deployments, and that's in the area of LoRaWAN and cellular IoT in particular. So we provide all the critical components that you need for any LoRaWAN or cellular IoT solution. So that includes sensors, gateways, LoRa network servers, dashboards, and then connectivity. So earlier this year, we actually became a Vodafone IoT partner as well. So we now provide NB-IoT connectivity throughout the UK and further afield. But we know that it doesn't stop there. You need to know that to make your project a success, you can access the support as and when you need it. So we have our own team of in-house technical experts who test everything that we sell. If they're not satisfied with the quality or the capabilities of those products, we simply won't sell them. So just to give you a bit of an idea of some of the services that we can wrap around the products we provide, we can provision the devices so they're shipped, ready to be used, plug and play out of the box. We can also label them up so that when you're carrying out a large site deployment, it's really simple. You just literally place it where it needs to be and plug it, switch it on, and away you go. We can also come up with bespoke support contracts, so we know that everyone's requirements differ, so we can create something bespoke for you, extended warranties, product swap outs, and then project and product consultation. So the landscape's changing all of the time. We'll make sure that we're delivering the right products for your projects. So that's enough about us. I've already mentioned that we were established in 2018 and we're always testing the latest products. We're working with some really large enterprises and business is going really well. We're delivering some really innovative projects. But what we are seeing is that SMEs are much slower to take up with this technology. According to government data, 99.9% of UK businesses are actually classed as an SME. So I'm sure you'll agree that's a huge percentage that's not quite taking up this technology. So in December 2022, a member of our tech team decided to transform our own offices into a smart office, which led me to think that maybe if we can talk about how we're using these sensors and the data within our day-to-day business, it'll help to resonate with people that it's not exclusive and that in fact it's very accessible to everyone. So maybe you're sat here as an employee of a large enterprise looking at how you can resell these solutions, or maybe you're from an SME and you're wondering how you can digitally transform your offices. My aim today is to share our projects so far and hopefully ignite some ideas of how you can adopt this technology. So when we think about smart buildings and smart offices, we quite often think of high-tech new builds. But as you can see in the image here, we're quite the opposite to that. We're actually based in a 150-year-old textile mill. We've got 16 employees and the occasional dog makes the appearance in the office. And so this is where LoRaWAN really comes into play. So the beauty is that it's minimal cabling, it's really fast to deploy. It took just one member of our team to transform our offices in 2 days. And just to give you an idea, so there's lots of different parameters we could be monitoring at the moment, but the key areas we decided to start with are temperature and humidity, energy, CO2, light presence and motion, and people counters. We're then bringing this all together in one centralised platform on our own Novascene dashboard. This allows us to monitor, visualise and manage our solution. So I know we don't have an awful lot of time today, so I've tried to split our findings up into 3 key areas. These are health and safety and well-being, energy efficiencies, and then future expansion to just see what actions we're going to take from the data that we're currently getting. So we'll start with our warehouse. It's pretty cold down there and the lighting's not great. It doesn't take a sensor to tell us that, but what we did find by using the sensors that we deployed was that our lighting actually wasn't in line with HSE guidelines. So according to HSE guidelines, in an area where a perception of detail is required for work, the minimum lux should be 100 and an average of 200 lux. Whereas over the period that we actually looked at, our average 24-hour lux was just 70. So it's quite a bit below what it should be. So there's a couple of contributing factors that could come into this. One of them is that the data that we looked at was during winter, so of course less daylight is going to have an effect on that lux as well. And then the other one is that our lighting is triggered by a motion detection sensor, so if people aren't moving about, it does switch off. So when we were looking at what actions we could take around this, it didn't make economical sense for us to completely renew the whole lighting system. What we did instead was install local lighting above the working stations. This was a really simple, cost-effective solution, but it did help us to address something that if an accident did happen, we would have been liable for. I've already mentioned it's pretty cold down there as well, so the average temperature over the period we looked at was just 13.48 degrees Celsius. And actually, that is within guidelines for areas where strenuous work is being carried out. But we do have hearts, so we got them some heaters as well. So onto our quiet rooms. So in the office, we've got 3 quiet rooms and an area where we can perform online training and record videos and things like that. So they're just smaller rooms where people can work individually or in small groups away from the hustle and bustle of the main office. On the far right, this data was taken when we were actually performing a virtual online training course. And when you really look into the data, you can see the guys going into that office, ranking up the radiator to full whack and just leaving it on. So over these 2 days, the room was actually only used for 4 hours in total, yet it was reaching 30 degrees in there, which is tropical in Huddersfield. Very. So on average, these rooms are actually used 70% of the time, and when they are used, they're only in use for around 76 minutes a day. But before we started looking at this data, we were heating them all day, every day, which I'm sure, as everyone's been affected by the energy costs increase, this was costing us around £2,000 a year, which to an SME is quite a big unnecessary cost. We have taken further action on this since then, but I'll go into that in a little bit more detail later. So these are just little bits I've pulled out just to try and resonate a little bit more about what other things you may wish to monitor within an SMB. So on the left, we've got a people counting sensor in the reception area of our offices. So it's counting people in and out of the building. You can see that on Mondays and Fridays, they are the quieter days within the office. Now, we're not going to take any action upon this. We adopt a hybrid working approach, and most of the time, we can pretty much come and go as we like. But some SMBs may wish to use this kind of data to impose work-from-home days, so you can keep the energy costs lower by not having to heat the building on those days. Again, another little silly one, but the middle one is when we're actually preparing for an exhibition. So you can see Monday and Tuesday, we're busy getting ready. Wednesday, Thursday, we're out of the office, or the majority of us are. Then on Friday, we get back and we've got all of that kit to lug back into the office, and we really do cover some miles when we're in and out doing things like that. This third one here with the CO2, that's actually measuring the CO2 levels within our boardroom. The data was taken during a board meeting, and our levels were actually okay at this point. But I've just given that as an example as well, as we're seeing a lot of demand for these kind of solutions, as the correlation between ventilation and concentration is really linked. So you want to make sure that safe levels are maintained and improve conditions and efficiencies within the workplace. Just to give you some other ideas of things that you may want to consider, you could be looking at operational efficiencies, predictive maintenance, resource optimization, so optimizing things like waste collections, inventory management, reducing manual labor by using like temperature sensors to monitor water temperature, for example, to complete reports for Legionella compliance, and remote monitoring. Of course, all of this can be monitored remotely, so even if you've got four different offices throughout the UK, it can all be managed in one centralised platform. So going back to the quiet rooms, we've actually taken action and installed the M-Climate Vicky thermostatic radiator valve. This allows us to remotely control the temperatures in those rooms now, and we've also synced it with the present sensors that are in the room, so it will trigger the heating to come on when that room is in use. We're now looking at how we can further integrate that with a meeting booking system. So for instance, if a meeting room is booked, it will trigger the heating to come on 30 minutes before it's in use, so it reaches a nice ambient temperature before it's used. Again, it's all just improving our efficiencies and helping us save money. So, just in summary, we are a real-life example of an IoT using SMB within, using IoT within an SMB environment. To get started, you'd be looking at around £100 to £1,500 investment. It all really depends on what you're looking to monitor and at what scale. But as I've shown you, it's potentially a really fast return on investment. The money that we saved, we've invested in the well-being of our warehouse staff. And of course, the beauty is that it's all very easy to scale, it's adaptable, and can be retrofit to any environment. And yeah, thank you.
Questions for Kate? Sure, there's got to be questions. Yes.
I have a question related to my value creation approach. So, like, considering those like three approaches, which approach are you taking at the moment? And yes, that's the first question. Then there's a second question.
Do you want to give her the second question now? So
okay, so if this first question is just like a software-centered development, then would you adopt other approaches for your value creation in the future? What kind of value creation approach are you thinking?
So the thing that we tend to try to get clients to identify first is what data they're looking for. And once we know that data, we'll then create the solution around that. I don't know if that answers your question. We don't design any of the products ourselves. We just work on a consultancy basis to put the solution together.
One of the things that's interesting, sorry, I was just going to say, sometimes people don't know what they want. So we had an instance of where we had a local council that was trying to measure lighting. So they wanted to put lux lighting and make sure the lights was on. But the reality is that's not what they wanted. They wanted to make the pavement safe. So what we then did is you don't need a light sensor on every light. What you need to do is put it where people are walking. And then actually you can turn off a third of all the lights, therefore saving energy, but keeping the lux at the right level to keep it safe. So what we do is, whilst we say what data do you want to collect, we're actually saying what do you need to achieve. Then once we understand that, then we can start looking at actually you don't want to put a lighting sensor on every light. You want to put it here because that's what you're trying to deliver. We don't create products. What we do is we go and get lots and lots of products and then modular, put them together to deliver an outcome that the customer actually wants.
Thank you so much. Sounds like very much like design approach.
Yes.
Like identify the problems.
Yes.
another question for Kate? In the middle. Wait for the mic.
So obviously you as a company have visibility and understanding of the IoT landscape and the products that are available, therefore you can stitch it up together. What do you think do the regular SMBs, the 99.9% of the SMBs, do they understand the products that are available in the market and the solutions that you can actually build with them? I know that's your consulting business, but your 16 of you will not reach 99.9% of the SMBs.
Oh, no, definitely not. But we have people reselling our solutions as well. I think the key is it's the education, isn't it? A lot of people don't know what is doable and what you can actually be monitoring, so there's definitely work to be done there.
So are you seeing patterns that are emerging within the SMB space, such as heating, lighting, are those the common patterns that you see, or is just too broad for you to categorize them as patterns?
I think Rob would probably be, sorry Rob, you'd be better to answer that than me.
Yeah, so smart buildings tend to be dominating right now. Everybody's looking at efficiencies, optimization. We've had energy hits across every market. So we're looking at clients who they have an idea of what data they need, and data is king in what we're offering. What data do you want? What's the value of that data to you? It's about outcomes. It's not about the boxes that we sell. However, when they look at these, because a lot of the stuff we use is interoperable, it's okay, and we also want to know how much energy we're using, but not just how much we're paying for it, where are we using it? And that's happening on an increasing basis. So within smart building sector, energy and occupancy, how often is an office used? Do we need the space that we're paying for? Can we reduce it? And we're making the best use of it. That tends to be the main crux of what a lot of companies are looking for.
If there's no other, oh my God, it's so loud. If there's no other questions, we're going to move us on. Have I got a Matteo here somewhere? Amazing. Please come on down. Thank you so much, Kate.